Hey guys, and welcome back to Fringe Friday, as I have decided to dub this reaction series, I guess. And I'm Carmen. If you're new here, welcome. If you are returning, it is nice to see you again. I am very excited to get right into episode 2, so I'm going to try to not talk very long before the episode starts. You guys probably skipped this part anyway, but if you do not, here is where we are. Olivia has decided to join the X-Files, and she got to choose who is on her team. She chose the Bishop Boys, and I, for one, am very excited to see how these relationships unfold and progress going forward, because we have already sort of seen the seeds of what I think are going to be really interesting, fun dynamics between these characters. I love the Peter and Olivia dynamic already. It's very, I could ship it if that, I'll just say that. I love Olivia as a character. I think she's really interesting. I think the actress does an amazing job playing her. I love Joshua Jackson. I am very interested in the dynamic between Peter and Walter as well. I think that there is a lot to uncover there and a lot to repair. And I'm excited to see the way that the show goes about doing that. I'm also very interested in the relationship between Olivia and Walter, because they had a really interesting exchange in the last episode where he sort of acknowledges that she's the first person to trust him in a very long time. And, you know, due to his past circumstances and where he spent the last 17 years, I think that that is a bigger deal than maybe I gave credence to in the last episode, or I just forgot to talk about that section, that moment. But anyway, I'm very interested in all of these characters, these dynamics. Broyles is going to continue to be a part of it. I'm excited to see where we're going with the pattern, and if it is some sort of, you know, Machiavellian design, if it's some sort of manipulation of people on Earth by some sort of entity or alien force or other dimensional force, or what, or if it is just the universe and that's what's going on. I think that's all that I have to say before the episode. I'm gonna stop rambling so we can just get right into it.
My name isn't Amber, by the way, obviously. That's just for the club.
Oh no, don't kill her.
Yes, I do. Very much.
Lorraine.
Lorraine, get out of there. Get out of there, Lorraine. Lorraine. This guy is doing some serial killer stuff. I have seen Criminal Minds.
What is it?
What's happening?
What? Oh my God. He's some kind of, this is the X-Files. They can't be like a human baby. This poor, the trauma of this.
What the hell was that?
Yeah, that's a good question. Is it an alien? Can I see?
You need to get your father. Apparently there's something we need to see.
Hey, Walter, come on, we got... Walter?
Well, where is he?
Tell me you're not in the closet.
What the hell are you doing in there again?
For the past 17 years, it was a mental hospital.
St.
Yeah.
Clair's. I'm the one that got you out of that place, remember?
But the trauma of that.
He would sing, "Row, row, row your boat," every night. Funny how difficult it is to sleep without that song.
That's sad.
They placed it in a bassinet. We're in the process of transferring it to an intensive care when they realized what was happening. It was growing. before their eyes.
So where's the baby now?
If it's like a freaking adult or something.
Remained alive for nearly half an
This
hour,
way.
finally dying from natural causes.
Okay. How big was it?
What they realized is that the child wasn't just growing, it was aging.
Open the cabinet.
Why?
There are gonna be sheets in there.
He brought sheets with him?
That's what he would do. He'd go to motels ahead of time to replace the sheets with leak-proof medical-grade linen so he wouldn't leave any blood evidence.
Who?
I know who was in that room.
She had this case before?
I feel like I've been asleep for the last year. Every case that John and I worked together, I have to go back and try and find whatever I missed.
Oh, because he was bad guy.
He'd make an incision here along their gums, and then he'd pull their mouths open up to their eyes.
Okay, that's enough. You can stop
He'd go through their nasal cavity and remove a piece of their brain.
And all of this connects to magic old man baby and the pregnant woman. How?
She doesn't know.
I took advantage of our friendship. You kept quiet, even though you didn't approve.
I didn't see you that happy in a long time.
That got me, sorry.
I have to live with the feeling that whatever awful things he did, I should have stopped them.
He's dead, so she can't even, like, get closure, you know?
Look at this place.
Yeah, it's secluded.
Those windows have a really great view of the bridge.
No, they don't.
I don't care about the bridge. What do you like?
He's a serial killer.
I like the bridge. Go check it out.
See, okay, he wants you to not look at him so he can do what he wants to do. I wouldn't call it a great view. Girl, 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 girl. Turn around, turn around, turn around, turn around, turn around.
Wonderful news all round. DNA results confirm my suspicions that the woman was impregnated by a man who was the result of experiments identical to those conducted by me in this very lab around 30 years ago.
Oh.
I remembered where I parked my car.
Really? You remember where you parked your car 17 years ago?
Yeah. Is that like a really nice car?
I can't fathom that it's still here. Look at it.
Not a very nice car.
You have no idea where I've hidden things.
What is that? What is that?
Friend of yours?
Oh, it's a hand.
Oh, I certainly hope not.
I mean, what's the link to what happened at the hospital?
Advanced rapid aging, like the disease called progeria, can be induced artificially by manipulating the pituitary gland.
Oh, really?
Case filed by Dr. Penrose?
Yes, Penrose. Penrose.
He's a professor at Boston College.
Well, that's convenient.
As sorry as I was to hear about Dr. Bishop's incarceration, I believe it was the best thing that could ever happen to humanity. No one in power should ever learn what he knows.
Huh? What does he know?
My work, to which you are referring, ended years ago.
He knows something.
He's not telling us everything.
Nope. He's definitely not.
Years ago, when I worked with the Defense Department, we were tasked with a program designed to cultivate soldiers. Grow them. It was highly theoretical, of course. Female eggs were to be fertilized in a lab and given a cocktail of growth hormones. If perfected, a baby was born and within 3 years aged to the equivalent of a 21-year-old male, a soldier in prime condition.
What?
The only problem was how to slow the aging process.
Once they were 21.
But I believe that someone has made a breakthrough, that the killer is the product. To slow the process, he must extract the hormones from the pituitary glands of his victims to treat himself.
And the pregnant woman at the hospital.
She was an accident.
Even condoms are not 100% effective. You too should be aware of this. First, they fornicated, had intercourse, sex.
Okay, we got it.
Yeah.
She became pregnant.
This is okay. We're making
Why don't
progress.
you tell her that everything's going to be okay?
I thought you had a way with women.
Why did you think that one?
Christopher!
He knows who the serial killer is. Is it his son?
I know what happened. You got that woman pregnant.
Son, we have to be so careful. The last image seen in life, right at the moment of death, is permanently imprinted on the retina of the eye.
Also a work of fiction, which is a small but critical distinction.
Yeah.
When was it you lost your imagination, son?
Assuming we're actually having this conversation, we would still need I don't know what. We'd still need something that could translate what she
Something
saw.
that could translate from her eyes to a monitor.
But what? How could you do that?
Well, we need a piece of equipment. It's a laser optic hardware. Very crazy and very, very hard to find. But as it turns out, only one company has the patent.
Massive Dynamic?
Sorry for the delay. Miss Sharp will be...
Yep.
The very last time you were intimate, were you safe? You weren't, were you?
Oh, it's a nightmare. Okay. Okay. I was like, how the hell would that be your business? Okay. Nope. Don't like that.
You ready?
Nope. How does he decide which girl? He doesn't seem to have a victim type, you know?
Did you see that?
What was that?
Don't take your goggles off.
What was that?
Oh, maybe it's okay.
Can you focus?
Oh, it's the bridge.
I know that bridge. I used to live in Denton. That's Sergeant Bridge. That's in Stoke.
He needs to get like some sort of honorary something if he's gonna be going with an FBI agent, because you know, danger, like permission to carry a weapon or something is what I'm trying to say.
FBI! Put your hands up!
Yep.
Is there anyone else here?
Yeah.
Safety's on the right. Do not let him move.
She will jump off a building, dude. You don't understand.
Hey, back off!
Fucking asshole.
Just making popcorn.
Walter, I'm with a woman in her mid-20s. She is going into cardiac arrest due to an overdose of anesthesia. Her heart just stopped.
Do you have any cocaine?
Cocaine? No, I don't have any cocaine.
I'll have to shock her heart.
Yeah, I know that. Unfortunately, I don't have a defibrillator.
Maybe he'll just die since he didn't get it.
What is the optimum voltage for cardiac resuscitation?
Try 200 volts.
Getting old.
Hey, it worked.
Good work, son. Good work.
You're gonna be okay.
I'd be like, who the fuck are you? To be fair. He's very old now, right?
He should have let me die a long time ago. That was his mistake. But he was blinded because he loved me.
I feel like that's hitting close to home for her right now.
When you were with her, did she share anything with you? Did she mention the pattern? Did she comment or ask you anything about the details of your investigation?
She said you were a good man. She offered me a job.
And what did you say to that?
I told her you were gonna give me a raise.
I really like her.
Peter told me about my former colleague and his son. It's one of the inherent pitfalls of being a scientist, trying to maintain that distinction between God's domain and our own. The Sometimes I forget myself, but then you already know that.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
If you've read my file, then you know the truth about Peter's medical history.
What?
There was no mention of any medical history. Just his birthday.
I'd want to know,
I was
though.
going to ask you to keep it between just the two of us, but
No, I'm gonna need you to...
suppose then there's no need.
No. No. I need you to tell me what the hell you're talking about.
I was trying to lull myself to sleep.
Yeah. You think you could do that in your head?
Wasn't I? I thought I was. Sorry.
You're gonna need, like, a white noise machine or something.
610.
Row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 merrily.
Son? Is that you?
Yes, Walter, it's me. Row your boat gently down the stream.
They got me.
Merrily, merrily.
Life is but a dream. I'm sorry. You interrupted my emotional moment to show me some fucked up shit. Hold on. I gotta see what the hell that was. Yep. It's what I thought. Also, that. Okay, you guys, the apple cores, like, that's a baby. Right? Like where the little seeds usually are in an apple, like, I'll try to put a picture up and show you. Like, I'm sure if you watch the show, you already know. But, like, that's a fucking baby. That's a fetus. Those are little fetuses. Like, the details in this show, you guys. Also, I don't know if it's relevant for where the little glowing light is, but I also noticed that it changes. And I think that there was a symbol in the leaf. Anyway. Okay. This episode was amazing. I loved so much of it. It reminds me of, like, the best parts of Criminal Minds and The X-Files and all of the great sort of shows that exist. Obviously, this aired, I think I looked it up, and it was 2008 was the first season, and I think 2005 was the first season of Criminal Minds, and obviously X-Files is from the early 90s, or it premiered, I think, 1993? Don't quote me on that, but I think so. Anyway, I think that the show is so good, because I think that a lot of what it does really well is intrigue, mystery, and relationships between characters. And I think that already in the first 2 episodes, it's asked a lot of questions and sort of highlighted a lot of things that I personally find really fascinating for a show to delve into. And this episode in particular, I think, focused heavily on trauma and the different ways that people sort of respond to traumatic events in their lives and the different ways that things can traumatize you. And I think that that's a really fascinating topic, and I think that everybody should go to therapy. And I think that a lot of these characters honestly could benefit from therapy. And yeah, I think that just the first little bit of the episode even And maybe I'm going to focus too much on this and you guys are going to be like, calm the fuck down. But they showed Lorraine and sort of the trauma that she was going through, obviously being, everything that happened to her is insane. And unfortunately, she did not survive to be able to heal and grow and learn from it. Not learn. I don't like to phrase like trauma as like a growing learning experience. You can heal from it and you can get past it, but I don't like the framing of it as a learning experience. Sorry, so I didn't mean to say that, but I'm sad that she didn't get the chance to heal through, navigate through, and move past her trauma, rather. But just, can you imagine, like, you can't, I don't think anyone can, but just the sheer, like, how horrifically traumatizing that would be. This woman survived a serial killer to be killed by a serial killer. You know what I mean? Like, she was gonna get killed. Like, she clearly, she was a woman of the night, and she obviously, I don't want to pathologize everybody who chooses, sex work as a profession, because I don't think that there's anything wrong with it. And I don't want to make it seem as though I think that there is. But she kind of seemed as though she maybe had some past trauma that led her to choose the life that she was living. And so she had that. She's desperately trying to connect with this person who is paying for her company for the night. And she struck me as a very sad person. I know she's a fleeting character that I'm not supposed to think too deeply about, but she struck me as a very sad character. And then this horrifically traumatizing thing happened. Like there was something inside of her all of a sudden that was I want to say, can you imagine again? But honestly, I can't fathom the sheer terror that would cause. And you go from no months pregnant to 9 months pregnant in the span of maybe an hour. I feel like people did not freak out about that enough in this episode. They're like, yeah, that baby, now dead old man with an umbilical cord still, was born 4 hours ago. And now he's a dead old man. I'm sorry. I would cry, throw up, freak the... I don't know. But I feel like all of them had a much calmer reaction to that than I would have, personally. Anyway. I feel like, yeah. I just feel bad for Lorraine with one R. Yeah. Okay. To go off of her trauma, we also saw Walter and some of his trauma in this episode, with him going into the closet, him needing to hear, another patient at St. Clair's had sang, row, 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 row your boat. And he learned over the years to use that as a lullaby to go to sleep. And now all of a sudden he's out. And it's hard to imagine the trauma that he could have faced in 17 years at St. Clair's, because he talked a little bit about it last episode with telling Olivia that she was the first person to trust him in a really long time, and how just central that was to him, that how important that she trusted and respected him to believe that he was capable of this. And she was the first person. And 17 years to do that. And I don't think it can be understated how significant of a moment that must have been for him. He definitely seems to have some moments where he comes and goes, but of course I think that that could be expected from anyone who spent 17 years of their life in a place like St. Clair's. And I don't want to assume what St. Clair's was like, but I do have some experience with knowing, due to my family, which I'm not going to get into, but I know the way that these sorts of places function in our society and in my own personal life. I have seen the way that they function. And while I am definitely an advocate for therapy and getting the help you need and stuff, I am also deeply aware of the how much the mental health care system in this country in particular, and I can only speak for this country, I can very much speak for Florida. I don't know about every other city or every other state in the United States, but I imagine it's not that different. It fails in a lot of ways, and I know that it is, I'm trying to say this as diplomatically as possible, but there's just a lot of ways in which the mental health care system in this country fails the people who need it the most. And I have seen that firsthand. I have seen the lack of basic respect and humanity that a lot of those places exhibit. And sorry, you guys, it makes me really upset to just imagine what 17 years in a place like that might do to somebody. And I think that that is why the last scene, it's still getting me, I'm sure you can tell. Whew. But that is why the last scene affected me so much, or the second to last scene, with Walter and Peter. And, you know, I think Peter just wants to go to sleep, but the way that he's choosing to do it is so significant. And he's offering Walter a kindness, you know, he's offering this gift of, okay, this is how you go to sleep. I can do this for you. And I think that for Walter, again, it's just, he's not used to that. It's been such a long time since he's been treated this way. And I think that it was a really good moment between father and son. I think that they have had some really good bonding moments in this episode that got to me. I like to see the way that they interact with each other. I think that we're only 2 episodes in, so maybe I shouldn't make such bold claims, but I feel like they're gonna be my favorite relationship in this show. I feel very attached to them already, and very sort of fragile about them. So we're gonna see how that goes. But yeah, I think it's really interesting how they are focusing on Walter's trauma and how they're trying to make it better. And I think that it's a really cool sort of thing to focus on. And I'm excited to see where they take it. Now, I think the last bit of kind of trauma that we've seen in this episode is Olivia's trauma regarding who Scott was, finding out who he was. And she doesn't get the closure of getting to have a conversation with him and being like, you know what, this is messed up what you did to me. I trusted you. I opened up my heart to you. I loved you, and you betrayed that. And that's such a big deal for me. Like Olivia, you know, she said in the last episode, I'm not good at this. Like, I haven't been good at this for a while. So that could indicate another past trauma. You know, I don't know. Haven't seen enough to know. But she really opened herself up to Scott or John. I'm just gonna call him Scott because his name's Agent Scott, but he has 2 first names. But she really opened herself up to him and allowed her heart to be vulnerable for him. And he did not tread carefully. He betrayed her trust, and I think the worst part about him betraying her trust is that he has now made her question herself, you know? And she has to go back and be like, this case that we worked, if I didn't see it in him, maybe I didn't see it anywhere. Maybe I'm not good at my job. Maybe I can't, deduce things as well as I thought and all that stuff. So I think it's very interesting, and I really like Olivia. I really like her as a character. I think that she's very easy to like. I don't know. She has this kindness about her, I think, that I find very appealing in a character, if that makes sense. I kind of thought last episode that Walter's weaving in and out of sort of lucidity was maybe an act that he was putting on, but the more that I watch it, I think that he just, one, is the kind of person that like he focuses wholly on what he is doing, and so if he's working, he's like, that's what I'm focused on, don't distract me. And then I think also, again, the trauma from St. Clair's has affected him. And I think that maybe he's just somebody who doesn't retain information because he's too focused. So he's like, yeah, I met this person a few times, but like, who are you? Oh, I'm sorry, like I forgot. I wonder if there's anything deeper than that to it though, because he forgot about his lab and everything. So I don't know, I'm kind of keeping an eye on that, but I do think that it is likely a trauma response. I'm very interested to know more about this secret committee that Broyles is a part of, and I'm just curious because of the conversation he had with Olivia as well, saying, yeah, some people are aware of the pattern, but they are not cleared to know the ins and outs of the investigation of certain things. And so I'm just curious if that's actually true or if he just wants to play both sides, if that makes sense. Like, I don't understand exactly. I mean, I understand that the committee could actually be very useful because they have resources that you might need in this situation, especially because a lot of them are multi-billion-dollar companies and private security and private businesses and stuff like that. So I understand that aspect of it, but I feel like in Olivia's dream where Broyles is saying you can't really ask for a favor unless you're willing to give a favor later on. I feel like that might apply to the committee too, and in which case, what do they want? Penrose, I think, is also interesting in that he used to work with Walter, or at least he worked with him for a little bit. And then he kind of seemingly retired, but actually he kept he figured out how to arrest the aging for the soldiers that they were creating. And he did it, a pretty effed up way, but I guess it worked every however many years. And so I'm curious as to when he did that and why. Like, Walter obviously had some sort of suspicion, which we will talk about in a little bit, but he loved him, his son, the serial killer. And that I can understand to a degree. Like, you create this life, and like Walter said, you sort of don't always ask yourself the question of what should be left to God and what should be left to man. And you kind of see yourself as a father figure to this person because you watch them grow for 3 years and they're 21. But it's not exactly like having a child, because obviously it would take 21 years for your kid to get 21 in, normal time. But I imagine that caring for a life in any sort of capacity would cause you to become attached to that life, and any sort of way that you could extend this life who you see as your child could potentially be a viable option to you. But I feel like, or would hope, that most people wouldn't cross the line into allowing straight up murder for this. I also think that the serial killer guy did not really seem to show any remorse. He kind of seemed like he liked it. So it wasn't like this was this horrible thing that he had to do. Also, why could he not get it from people who had recently died? Do they have to be alive when he extracts it? Did they explore the possibility that that doesn't have to happen? Because I feel like he just liked it. I don't know. I just think it's interesting that Penrose had this quote that I really loved in the episode that was, "No one in power should ever learn what he knows." Because I'm like, well, what the fuck does Walter know? The extent to what he knows must be terrifying if no one in power should ever learn it. But then he also is a party to the murder of, I can't remember how many, but 10, 15 women. That's pretty messed up. That's pretty messed up. And then at the end, we see there's 3 of that guy somewhere else that's being grown or whatever. So is that Penrose? Is he replacing the son that he lost? Or no, it takes 3 years, so he can't be replacing the son he lost. He had to have already been making them. Is he making them for somebody else? Is he just making a bunch for himself? I feel like I might have given him too much leeway now that I'm thinking about that. What the fuck is happening? I don't know. I do think now I don't know a lot about science beyond what exists in the science fiction that I watch. But I thought it was cool how they sort of took the aging disease that exists in our world, and what is it called? Progeria. And they went off of that. I think that that's kind of cool, which, I mean, that is what science fiction is, right? It's taking science that exists and just taking it a step further, so it's fiction. But I thought that that was kind of cool. I really liked the idea that you could see one of the last things that somebody saw in their life and then sort of maybe extrapolate some sort of information out of that. I think that would be especially helpful when pertaining to murder victims and such. I thought that was really cool. I liked the way that they did that. And I liked the way that Walter and Peter's conversation regarding it went, because I think so much of what limits humans, and I mean, I'm the same way, but is lack of imagination sometimes. And I liked that Walter asked Peter, where's your imagination? When did you lose that? Because just because something happened in a book doesn't mean that it can't happen. I like that he kind of challenged the idea, right? Because so much of what has been invented, so many of the crazy inventions and ideas of humanity are because somebody dared to think that it was possible. And I like to be reminded of that every now and then, I think it does humans good to be reminded that we are kind of our biggest limitations. I also thought it was really cool, and this kind of goes back to Olivia's trauma, how the last thing that the serial killer guy, and I keep calling him the serial killer guy because I don't remember what his name was, he said to Olivia, like, as he was dying, like, he should have let me die a long time ago, but he couldn't because he loved me. Like, the thing that was allowing things to happen was, like, he loved me. And I think that really hit her because she's thinking, I loved Scott, and what kind of damage did my loving him and allowing in her mind, of course, she didn't know what he was doing, but of course she has guilt for not knowing what he was doing. But I think that hit her, and she's like, I loved him. What did he get to do because of that he might not have had it not been for the fact that I loved him? And I think the last thing that I want to talk about is, what the hell did Walter mean when he said, let's keep Peter's medical history between us, and also that he understood Penrose in a way, and how the God thing, right? There's so many possibilities, right? Peter not being his biological son, although I think that there are so many similarities between them that I guess could exist if you just, it's the whole nature versus nurture debate, so I'm not going to try to get into that. But I don't know, I'm very curious as to what the fuck that meant. And I'm trying to, like, figure out, like, what it could have possibly meant, but he's not his son. He's his son, but he was sick and he had to experiment on him in order to make him well, and so he's maybe not 100% human anymore. He isn't 100% human, and he was found a la Superman. Like, I don't think he was created in a lab, but I mean, he wasn't grown in a lab, I don't think. There's so many more possibilities. I just don't think I'm thinking of all of them. Like, maybe his mother's not his mother. We haven't really heard much about his mom, like where she is now, if she's alive, all that stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna need more points of evidence to try to form some sort of actual theory, but I'm very interested in what the hell that meant. And I hope Olivia is too, so she does some digging so we can figure out what it means. Because I'm nosy and I want to know. Anyway, that is all that I have to say about this episode. Thank you guys so much for watching if you did. And if you want, you can like, comment, and subscribe, but there's no pressure if you don't want to. That's totally fine. I get you. If you do want, though, you can watch the next episode right now over on Patreon, which will be linked in the comment or in the description below. You can also watch my entire reaction, full length, watch along style, if you desire. It is also over on Patreon. All of that said, I will let you guys go. Enjoy your weekend or whenever you're watching this, and I will see you all next Friday for another episode of Fringe. Bye, guys.